Hello, guys. Welcome to another episode of Bikini and the Brain. I am here with the brain herself, Ashley, and I am the bikini.
Of course, obviously. I mean, look at this physique.
Of course. How could I not?
Right.
So, we had ourselves the 100th episode, last episode, obviously, and we had so many questions come in, which thank you guys very much for that. But Ashley thought it'd be a good idea to do a few more of those questions.
Part two.
Yeah, everyone seems to always like those Q&A ones. Now, but before we go into that, Ashley just came in off of an incredible weekend where she competed in two shows, both Friday and Sunday. You're one of only two people, from what I'm told, to have, well, one of two people who did that, but I think people who have done that. I guess there hasn't been that option very often from what I'm hearing. So, yeah, because JM was there and he's like, yeah, no one's done that.
It's a once in a lifetime opportunity. They never fall like that. You'll never see a show that falls on a Friday and a Sunday. It's usually Saturday.
Yeah.
Or if it's a 2-day show, it's a Friday, Saturday. But of course, with 2-day shows, it's a different scenario because you stay in the same place. But what made this one unique is they were in different states, different time zones.
Yeah.
So it was a Friday night show, not even morning, Friday night show in Texas. And then we flew first thing in the morning on Saturday over to Reno, Nevada, and drove to Lake Tahoe and competed in Lake Tahoe, or competed in the Tahoe Pro Show on Sunday morning and evening. So what a doozy. I'm still recovering
yeah,
from
I'm
it.
definitely, so is travel.
It's so hard to get it's so hard to work out after show. I would say like after show is harder to work out than before the show because I'm just like so drained and my sleep schedule was so off. Like that whole week I was getting like 4 hours of sleep, so I'm just like still trying to recover. So I tried to work out today and it wasn't the best workout, but I still got it done.
Yeah, that was a hard weekend when you go through all that because you're in and out of bags, packing them twice, too, and then the travel from the airport to Tahoe is a long one. So yeah,
And the tan is
your
cracking.
Your skin is.
My skin hates me right now. So many layers of tan, then rinse, tan, rinse, scrub. Oh my gosh, my skin really hates me right now.
On Sunday or Monday morning, it looked like her skin looked like lizard with all the tan cracking.
Right,
The
yeah.
tan's like disappearing and cracking.
Oh,
and
it's
she had a photo
ugly.
shoot with all of her cracking skin, so she had to put makeup like on
I
her
had
skin.
to cover my body with stage makeup, like all over my arms and my abs, everything. It was like a mess. I was like, I cannot touch anything right now. I'm going to leave marks everywhere. But I mean, like I said, once in a lifetime opportunity, so you got to do it. It was an experience, but we definitely learned a lot. And we also learned my body can handle that pretty well. I would say my body held up pretty nicely.
Yeah, it was there was really no one to consult with on doing a kind of in between peak week day too. So there's like no coaches have done it. So there's like no one. I'm like, hey, have you ever done this type of thing? And everyone's like, no one has done that. Like it's never been done. Like no one does that. So we didn't really know how to go into it with the Saturday day. Like how do you load on a Saturday? We don't ever cut water, but that was now a concern because we had a Friday during the show. You don't have that much water. Because when you're competing that day, you're not drinking a whole bunch of water.
Because you don't want to be bloated with the water.
Yeah,
Because if I drink the amount of water I usually do, and mind you, the show was is at evening time, so it wasn't like first thing in the morning or anything like that. So Friday evening is like it's hard because during that day you try to drink water, right? And like you said, we don't cut water. Like the day before, I was drinking a lot, but the day of the show, it's tricky because you never want to be like bloated with water. So that was like something to take into consideration. So I tried to drink early in the day, but still can't get in enough, just from the festivities.
Yeah. So the next day we're like, well, hopefully you don't rebound because you didn't have that much water the day before the show. So Friday after the show, we basically said just drink a whole bunch of water to hopefully neutralize your day of like it equaling out. And then we had a weird kind of peak day on Saturday where we like started off with carbs in the morning and tapered them down at night. We kept the fats the same all the way through. So it was like 1 tablespoon of nut butter every meal. But it was really simple. It was like 7 rice cakes. It was 35 carbs. Then it was like 7, then like 6, then 5, then 4, then 3, then 2 type of thing on the meals. And then it was just a tablespoon of nut butter and like minimal proteins. And so that was the day we came up with. But it worked really good. You looked awesome on Saturday. You actually looked really, really good.
You mean Sunday?
Sunday. Yes, Sunday.
Yeah.
You looked really, really good. So the way the show went on both days, Ashley won on Friday. I didn't see the scorecard on that. Was it a perfect score? Yeah, it was a perfect score.
In Texas.
In Texas, yeah. And then on Sunday, she actually won judging, the initial prejudging round. And then at nighttime, they did a rejudge of the scores, or they call it a confirmation round. And then they were the only two that were rejudged. The top two were the only two that were rejudged. The rest of the show was not rejudged. And then the judges flipped from morning show. She had two judges had her in second in the morning show, and 3 had her in first. And at the night show, they switched and went 3 at night, and 4 at night had her in second, and 1 had her in first. So it was the weirdest thing, because it's like never ever happened in a show that was not like an Olympia show or an Arnold show, where they only picked 2 people to get rejudged again. So it was like a really weird thing.
It was, yeah, very weird. Especially since my body didn't change. It's not like I went out for a large pizza. I actually got tighter in the evening. At night, yeah. I thought I looked better in the evening than the morning, but that is the way the cookie crumbles. They saw something in her that they didn't see in me at the night show. I'm not sure, but I guess the feedback was I was sitting in my hip on one of the poses. Yeah. So I don't know. I felt like I was doing that same pose in prejudging though. Yeah. So I guess that was I don't know, a little confusing, but.
Yeah, no, it was definitely one of those super, super weird ones when you're winning, because usually you win the morning show, there's no night show judging at all. But that's bikini, because the problem with bikini is that you can be too tight, you can be too muscular, you can be too this, too that. And if one judge decides that and starts talking about it at the table, then they can switch on you, So they said it came down to the last pose, your waist wasn't as profile and it looked a little bit wider. Then I'm like, well, yeah, if she's not as profile, but what about the rest of the 40 minutes of posing? But whatever. It's one of those ones, definitely, for me, you take it better than I do. I'm a little bit frustrated with it because we won it, and it was such a hard, we'll never be able to repeat that type of thing, 2 shows in a weekend, 2 wins, But I'm so happy with how you looked, and that's the most important thing.
And like I said, I can't complain, because in Texas was perfect for me. I did really well and perfect score, and I felt like I gave a really good package that day. Yeah. So it's kind of although the second show maybe could have been a little bit better for us, I can't complain, because the first one was really good. So, at the end of the day, I'll take it. I tried something new. We've never done it before. Probably never get to do it again. But, you got to try these challenging things. You got to challenge yourself and just go for it. Yeah. So I was pretty satisfied, all in all.
Yeah, we won 1.5 shows. We won the morning. We won the morning 1.5.
But I honestly, I wasn't expecting to win. Anyway. Yeah. I never go in with expectations. That's the thing. I never go into a show with expectations, because there's so many great girls these days in the shows. You just never know. And just like what happened at Tahoe, if you're even a little slightly off, that can make or break you. So always have to go in with that attitude in bikini, especially, that there can be something slightly off, and it's so minute, but it can cost you.
Yeah.
So
and that's why we do so many shows too, so we learn from each show.
And we definitely learned, and I think we are improving in some areas, and I'm super happy about the areas we did improve in. Glutes looked a lot better. I was a little more comfortable on the stage and everything like that. So every single time we learn from our mistakes, and we use it to better ourselves for next time. So
yeah, and then we learn about different judges too, what they're looking for. So
because every judge will have a different taste. One judge will like you better profile. One judge will like you better more forward facing. So you just always got to try to accommodate to best of your ability for the scenario given.
Yeah, because Sandy likes you a little bit more, showing a little bit more of your waistline to balance out your glutes to your waist ratio, but Tamer and Tarek like you both more profile. And so, you're just learning more from different judges what they like on your physique specifically. So it's kind of cool too, because especially when you go to the Olympia, then we're going to know feedback from every judge throughout the year and know what we need to work on. We're going to make all the mistakes, hopefully get all the mistakes out. You're never going to have a perfect show. So even in the Olympia, there's something's going to go wrong. But we're learning more and more, eliminating the possibility of more mistakes. And that's why a lot of you should be competing, a few shows. I see people who compete in a local show and they get 4th. Oh, I'm qualified for nationals. I'm gonna go to whatever nationals. I'm like, hey, look, if you got 4th and you did one show, if you're getting 4th place, you can't beat everyone in the state. You're definitely not gonna beat everyone in the country. It just doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? If you get 4th in your state, you're definitely not going to get 1st in the country. Even if just the 3 people who beat you showed up in your own state, Right. So that's why I would say, do some shows locally, get the hang of it, get your mistakes out, because when it comes to nationals, like your posing and all that stuff is so important. Your presentation, perfecting it is so important, you know? And that's why we have girls will come to our posing class like 10, 12 weeks before shows every single week, and we get all the little things out, you know? And so that's what people don't really understand too, that they're like, why do you compete so much? I'm like, because we want to get the mistakes out. We want to get them out there. We don't want to get them out, learn them at the Olympia. That's not the place to learn them, you know? So anyway, I was super happy with it. That was a fun weekend. It was a lot, but it was fun. I'm like, I'm happy to be home for a little while. I'm like,
right.
Yeah.
It does feel nice. It does feel. I gotta leave tomorrow morning though.
Yeah.
I gotta wake up at 3 a.m. I'm going to the Wings of Strength headquarters
for
a fun day of filming and interviews and stuff. So that'll be fun. But after that, I should be relaxed for a little bit.
Yeah.
But what an exciting a few months this has been. Oh my gosh! And can I just say to you guys, like, it was so cool to see everyone who listens to the podcast on kind of come up to us and mention that they like to listen to us talk. So
a lot of people.
That was so cool. I'm always so super surprised by that. And especially in Texas, everyone was so freaking nice to me. Like, I don't know what it is about Texas, but I felt like so welcomed there. More than any other place in Texas. You Texas people are so nice. I felt so special.
That's the one place I would move.
Yeah.
Because if you didn't move to Vegas, I would have probably moved to Texas. Those are the two places. Texas, Florida, and Vegas. Those are like they're all, you know, tax-free states too. But Texas is just, the community's good, the people are nice, very welcoming, right? It's just a nice thing. I like Texas a lot.
Nice,
I gotta go more out to Texas, especially Dallas, because I didn't end up going to that Dallas Destination Dallas gym. I didn't end up going there, which sucks. I wanted to check it out because it was like 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
But we only had Friday, so I was like, you know. But yeah, that's a place I think I want to visit a little bit more. That place is cool.
Good times this weekend. And shout out to all the promoters that made it happen. Man, those were some epic stages too, right?
Yeah.
In Texas, there was some fireworks going on in
Dude,
the
it's
bathroom.
crazy.
I got some art bathroom
The,
in the backdrop. Fireworks.
Fireworks in the bathroom. Someone was eating too much protein.
Oh my God. No, in the backdrop. And it made for some really cool photos. And then same thing in Tahoe. It was so nice. Like, and the promos did a really good job. And the judges really are super helpful too. They'll give you feedback, and they're more than welcome or more than happy to give you the feedback to, you know, improve for next time. So that was super cool too. I just felt good vibes though from this weekend in general.
Actually really good shows. The venues and stuff are really cool. So one of them was the Angelica is part of the promotion at the Texas show, the Texas Pro. So that was a really good show. Great venue. The stage, the fireworks, that was really cool. High level judges. Tyler was there. Itala was there. There was just high level people there. And when you have high level judges at shows, it really does set the tone for your career. Like if you're a local level competitor and you're going in front of just the local level judges who might judge, you know, 5-6 shows a year that aren't going up to the national scene or pro scene, their eye isn't going to be as good as someone like Tyler, who's like the best in the world at this judging stuff. So like that's who you want to get in front of to get your feedback from. So if you ever get the opportunity to get in front of, you know, the Tyler, the Sandy, the Terex, the Gary, the Tamers, you know, get in front of them and get that feedback and like use it for your future stuff. So it just makes a lot of sense to do shows and stuff. So I'm really happy that she threw that together. And a lot of people don't even know how important that is to get in front of the right judges, you know? Because the worst thing you can do is get bad feedback from someone. I had this guy who was a real good friend of mine named Ryan, and he's a bodybuilder, and he's a shorter guy. He's like 5'1", 5'2" maybe. And he has got some huge trunk of legs. Like they're just ridiculous. His legs are huge. He's a bodybuilder. Probably the most dominant muscle group on his body is quads, and he went in front of this judge and then was like asking what he has to do to improve. And the judge is like, you just got to get your quads better. And I'm like, what are you talking about? Who would tell you to get your quads better? You know, they're the biggest muscle on your, if anything, they're dominant, you know, and they're fully separate. Like, you don't need any more work on them. You need to balance everything else out around that, you know? So, but like, if he would have not had, just listened to him, then he'd be more out of balance, right? So you got to get the right judges telling you feedback. The right judges have to like, that's how you're going to hone your body. You know, I've seen it happen a bunch of times where like someone will talk to like a local level judge. It's not really like, maybe they've done a few shows and like, oh, you just got to get bigger, to like bikini girls, and they're already like pushing the limits. And I'm like, who told you to get bigger? That's crazy. Like, it definitely wasn't like a Sandy or someone. So it's really important. And I'm really happy that Angelica is bringing the right judges to her shows. She's doing it the right way. Yeah. And then the Tahoe show was really awesome too. Great venue. I like the Tahoe show this year a lot better than last year, because the venue was more accessible to like stuff. You can like walk down the street, get food, whatnot. The other Tahoe show was like I'm going on
it was on a resort.
yeah, and everything's so far away, and you're like, that's like a family vacation type of resort, not like a, hey, I'm going to go to a cool place and walk around town type of
But it was cool that it was outside last year, though.
Yeah.
But that's very unpredictable with the weather. Thank God last year it was such nice weather. But it's tricky because if it's not, it kind of ruins it. But
Yeah, this year's venue I liked a lot better. You could walk down the street, get something to eat. There's shopping, there's casinos, there's everything was right there. You could just walk around. CVS was right next door. So those are the things that you guys don't think about when you're like doing shows, like convenience of stuff like that. So that was a good venue, and the venue itself was really nice. The lighting was a little off. I think the lighting could be better next year there, but everything else was really really nice. So yeah. So anyway, fun show, and Ashley got win number 29.
yes.
So guys, now she is tied for the all-time most IFBB Pro wins, more than everyone, and tied with Dexter Jackson now, which is pretty crazy to say. And does that half count to being the winner? the half win on Sunday that were 29 and a half and you're number one?
Oh gosh.
Yeah, right.
No.
That's funny.
I mean, yeah, it's kind of cool to think because, like I've mentioned before, it's like when I first turned pro, my goal was to win just one pro show and my life would be made. I would be on top of the world and my goal would be complete. But I've done that times 29. So it's kind of crazy to think, you know, that I never had that kind of expectation for myself and I never thought I would take it that far. So it's really cool to think. And we're just getting started, you know. I just want to put out there, we're just getting started, okay?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
get started.
Yeah.
And I plan on competing a lot after Olympia too.
Yeah.
Although Coach Adams says I should probably be done till the Arnold this year.
Yes.
Which is going to drive me crazy because it's like 6 weeks away. And that's a long time for me not to compete. I'm going to be super bored. But it's probably for my own good. And then we're going to do the Arnold, of course, the Olympia, and then a lot of shows after because why the heck not YOLO?
Yeah, I'm down for that. I'm down for that too. I'll have a good recovery at that point. I haven't been home on a weekend in I think like 4 or 5 weekends. I forget.
Now you're going to get bored the first weekend you're home. You're
The
bored.
first weekend I'm home. So this weekend I'm just gonna do nothing. I just can't wait to do like nothing or like play cards or something. That's all I'm gonna do. And then the next weekend I'll be like, okay, let's do something.
Yeah.
but you know what's funny is I was talking to Ryan from Zero Gravity, and he was saying this was his 14th weekend not home in a row.
Jeez.
Yeah, I've done a lot, but I'm never 14. I've done a lot. I think I've gotten up to. I got to 87 days in a row. I remember that. So whatever that is. But that's not 14. That's like 8 weeks, 10 weeks, something like that. 12 weeks? Maybe I was close actually. Yeah, but that's tiring. These like high level coaches, like people don't get it. Like they are worked.
Yeah.
Like they work. It's good. I mean, that happened to Odo once too. I was talking to him and he was like, it was like in June or it might have been in July, like maybe July. And he was telling me, and I was like, man, how are you at so many shows? Like I get like I'm at a lot of shows, you know, but not as many as like these guys. Like I'll be at like 20 a year, but they're at like 40 a year. It's crazy. Mm-hmm. And he's like, yeah, he's like, I've got so many, he's like, I'm so tired. He's like, I got so many miles right now on my account that I could fly for free to all rest of the shows for the rest of the year. Wow. That's how much he flies. I was like, that's crazy, man.
Yeah, that is crazy.
In like July.
Yeah, geez.
Yeah. So, yeah, these guys, they, show them some appreciation because they work. So, but congrats to him. He got in the Texas show. He got the pro win in men's physique too.
Awesome.
So we've done that a couple times where we'll both get the show. And then what's funny is that I've been battling it out with Odo for like, gosh, so often like in different states. Like he'll have 1 and 2, and I'll have 1 and 2, and we're just like always 1 and 2. Mm-hmm. Like it's so because he was 1 and 2 when Anya was getting second at the other show, and you were getting first here, then his girl was getting second in Vegas, and then it kept flipping. We kept going 1 and 2. It's really funny because we're like good friends, you know. So it's like a fun like battle that we have. It's like we just like laugh about it, but it's just a fun thing. So I appreciate the hard work and the challenge, of course. But anyway, anything else you want to say about those shows, Miss 29?
Just I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I'm not tired yet.
Yeah.
I'm not tired yet. I want to keep going, but I got to be smart about things. So I think we're going to hold off to the Arnold, and then 2 weeks after Arnold's Olympia, and then after Olympia, going crazy because I have nothing to lose. Whatever, you know, just whatever.
What's funny is Ashley's got now this year 7 wins, 10 shows, so 70% win rate. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good. And no pros still don't have 2 wins. There's not a single pro that has 2 wins in bikini this year. So Ashley has 7. and a half. I'm going to take that half.
No,
I'm just kidding.
It was. By the way, in case you guys are confused, he's referring to the prejudging.
Yes.
Because I guess I was technically.
You won prejudging, yeah.
In case you guys were confused.
We're kidding. I don't really want the half win. If people think I'm being serious,
No.
That one gets me because we won prejudging, and I was like so confident in that one.
Well, it's a learning lesson, and like I always say, you don't lose unless you refuse to learn from it.
Yeah.
So as long as you learn from every mistake you make, then it's not a loss. You still won in a way. So I always learn.
Yeah.
We will learn and move forward and just make sure it doesn't happen for next time. So
yeah, and that's what what's funny is that's a quote Evander Holyfield's.
yeah, I probably stole from someone.
Well, yeah, Evander Holyfield's coach told him that.
I knew it was somebody, but I didn't know who, so I didn't want to quote him.
He lost because Evander Holyfield, when he was a little boy. Evander Holyfield, another boxer who I really, really like. I love boxing stories because it's like most good boxers had a really tough upbringing, and that's why they're so tough. But they're so tough mentally, and so I learn from them on that stuff and how they're they evolve into great men because of the lessons they learn through boxing and their life and stuff. And so that's why I'm such a big fan of Mike Tyson. But Evander Holyfield said that. I remember he started, he's got a really good story. If you want to see his interview, watch him on the Mike Tyson show. He lost his first fight and he was crying and crying, and he was a little boy. He was he was 8, 10 years old, something like that. And he was crying and crying, and he thought he was done. He thought he had to be undefeated. He didn't know, he thought he had to be undefeated to be the champion of the world. And he always, every morning, every time he got in front of the mirror, he would look at himself in the mirror and do this with his hands, his hands up, Evander Holyfield, heavyweight champion of the world. He would just tell himself that every morning, and he said that every morning, every time he went in the bathroom to see the mirror, he would say that to himself. And he said, at first I was just lying to myself, and I was lying to myself, and I didn't believe it, but then after the years started passing, he started believing it, that I'm going to be heavyweight champion of the world. And he'd say it every time he saw a mirror, I'm going to be heavyweight champion of the world. And then so when he lost, to him it was devastating because he's been telling himself he's going to be heavyweight champion. He thought he had to be undefeated to do that. And then he was crying, and his coach is like, "What's wrong, man? What's wrong?" He's like, it's fine. It's just a loss." He's like, "Well, no, I can't be heavyweight champion of the world. I lost. I'm sorry, I lost." All this. And the coach is like, "You didn't lose." And he's like, "What do you mean I lost?" And he's like, "No, he's like, you don't lose until you stop." He's like, "Well, the day that you quit is the day that you lose. Until then, you're learning." He's like, "You don't." He's like, "You don't." He's like, you haven't lost yet until you stop." And so he got that in his mindset, and then it totally switched him around, and then there you go. So it's kind of a cool saying. I got a lot of these trainer sayings. I always like the trainer part of it, right? It's funny. Mr. Miyagi, Cus D'Amato. I like all these guys that are the coach part of it. I just always like that part. But it's a good lesson. You don't lose until you quit.
Well, I'm definitely not going to
No,
quit.
exactly.
But
So you're not
I'm going to
lose.
learn, though. You lose or you learn, or you win or you learn.
Yeah.
So you just got to move forward and, accept what it is and improve it.
Yeah. No.
Because it's not going to happen again, right?
Yeah.
With every mistake, it's okay, now I know, won't happen again. So.
Every show we learn a little bit more, bit more.
Even if it's something slight, even if it's just step this way instead of this way. Always learn. Just got to keep on improving, and the sport's always evolving too, so it's something you have to keep up on.
Yeah, that's a good thing about competing often is we always stay up to date with everything too. So, but anyway, we got a couple questions we can jump into.
So
I have not heard these questions, so we'll see how I come
narrowed
up.
it down to 4 questions. So Adam, don't go off too far because we've got to answer all of them.
Okay, all right. Well,
don't go off too far.
Yeah, the last episode too, I didn't hear the questions. So these are always unprepared, which are kind of fun because it's kind of like
putting you on the spot.
It's kind of like Jeopardy, I'll take whatever question you have for 200, Ashley.
Yes. All right, so let's get the first one up here. All right.
Hi, for my question, I was wondering if you could explain the process that an amateur bikini competitor would have to go through to get their pro card.
So I think that, we've done a podcast recently about how long does it actually take to get to the stage in the first place. So depending on where you're at, you got to realize how far along in your journey you are, right? So I think a lot of times people rush into things and this, maybe they place well at a local show and it qualifies them and they think they're ready for nationals. But once they get to nationals, it's a whole other playing field. It's whoa. Because you're used to, if you're in Oklahoma or something and you're used to competing in the local shows and you won, you're qualified. Once you go to nationals, it's whoa. You are now a small fish in a big pond. So just be prepared for that. And I think like, not that it's like a definite thing, but you really should be able to win your, show locally first before you go to nationals if you're thinking of getting that pro card, and it's tricky because it's not, sometimes, you can find somebody that won third place at their local show or second place or whatever, or won their height class but didn't win overall and still do well because they made awesome improvements. But more likely than not, you're going to have to beat the local people first to move on to the next, if that's how you're going to do it, right? But it all depends too on what can you afford, what's your lifestyle like are you able to go to nationals and it not affect you financially, knowing that you might not win a pro card or be in the mix, but you just want to compare yourselves to the girls that there for next year, right, and see what you got to improve on? Or are you in a scenario that's like you're tight on a budget, your schedule doesn't allow you to take too much time off from work? Then you got to be more precise with coming in 100% ready and competitive to get that pro card.
Yeah, I'm a fan of everyone getting experience like at local shows, but I'm not really a fan of everyone getting experience at national shows.
Yeah.
It's just because it's a pretty humbling experience if you're not ready, So that's probably the only place we'll differ on that. But I'm like, if you want to get experience, just stay at a local show, because the national show, it's not a place to like mess around, Yeah,
it's not to experiment.
Yeah, exactly. It's you should be very practiced, very ready. So the way the process is going to work is you're going to do your first show. Only the open division qualifies you for nationals. So no other division will qualify you for nationals. That's important to know. So if you're starting off and you only want to do one division, then do open. Don't do novice, because novice doesn't do anything for you besides give you more practice and a trophy if you win. So, but the open division is what qualifies you. Then when you win your open division, which I recommend you winning it before you go to nationals, then you go to nationals. If you win your division there, you'll get your pro card. If you go to nationals in Florida or USA's, you get the top 2 will get their pro card. I don't know. I think Universe this year also did top 2 got their pro card. So some shows there's top 2 and some shows it's just first place only. And then some shows it's like top 3 in the overall only will get it, or top 2 in the overall, or even just first place in the overall. Like if you're overseas and doing something like an Olympia or a pro qualifier, a lot of them it's just the overall only gets it. So look at whatever the show is, the guidelines that'll say how to get your pro card. But as far as like getting a pro card, I think people underestimate how important, like how hard it is to get a pro card. You got to understand, and you got to be very realistic with yourself. You are going into professional sports where you get paid if you win. That's professional sports. So just like any other professional sports, it's gonna take time to get good enough to be a professional. A lot of times I see girls like their very first like 6 months, and like, yeah, I just started working out. I want to do a show now, and I want to go get my pro card. And I'm like, cool that you want to do that, but just like by when? And they're like, well, I want to do this show, and then I'm gonna go to nationals. And I'm like, you think you're gonna get a pro card with 6 months of training? Like it's not gonna happen. Like you would need such good genetics. Like you would need crazy genetics to get a pro card like in 6 months when you just started training 6 months. It's just like me saying I want to play professional baseball and then I just start playing and 6 months later I want to try out for the MLB. It's just not gonna work, It's not gonna happen. So take your time, work on your physique. It's most likely to get a pro card. What I see is generally like a 2 to 3 year physique in bikini. That's what I usually see. For the average genetic person. Now you have your freaks that have crazy genetics. They're out there, you'll hear those stories. But I say, look at your physique, do a local show, get feedback with your coach, work on your improvements, win an overall title, and then go to nationals. It's kind of my thing. So now there are some girls where they're winning their class and they can't get an overall, or the judges in their area maybe aren't the best for being judges for someone who's more muscular or something, that I will say go to nationals right away. But for the most part, it's like that's the process I say to take. So.
Awesome. All right, let's move on to the next.
Hi, Ashley. The video I was meant to send you that disappeared was my question, which was, on days when you feel like you're just not hungry, do you eat anyway, or do you skip meals even if they're on your plan?
I like this question a lot because I don't know if I have a difference of opinion than you, but here's how I do it. If I'm not hungry, I'm not eating right now, okay? I'll save it for when I am hungry. There is exceptions to that, though, I would say. Like, if you are overly lean, for example, and you're getting close to a show and you're not really hungry, but you got to stay stay eating. I guess that would be a case. But like, let's say you're not, and you're just kind of just not hungry. I never force feed myself. I never do that. I think it creates bad habits, especially when you go into off season, or if you go into not competing life, like becoming a normal person. Like, it kind of gives bad habits, like, oh, I have to eat even though I'm not hungry, and it kind of plays with your mind a little bit. So my answer would be, I only eat when I'm hungry. I usually get hungry later in the day. I will make up for those calories and just put 2 meals together. But I don't force feed myself, no.
Okay, yeah. No, we're pretty much the same because you're saying eat the calories, just combine it, yeah. So that's what I will say too. I'm the same as you. I always tell people just eat when they're hungry, unless it's like post-workout or pre-workout, like, and you don't have any energy for your workout.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Those are the important timed meals.
So the only meals that are important in terms of timing is, I will say, so there's a lot that's going to go into this because this is technically right and wrong the way I'm saying it. So I say post-workout and pre-workout are the only important meals. But here's the thing. If you work out at night, let's say you work out at 8 o'clock p.m., and you already have 4 meals in you, and some of those meals were like slow digesting meals, then your post-workout isn't that important. Mm-hmm. If you work out first thing in the morning and you work out fasted, well then your post-workout is super important because you need to get nutrition in your body like right away. If you are working out first thing in the morning and you just have no energy unless you eat some food, then your pre-workout is obviously super important because it's going to affect your workout. So I used to be able to work out fasted all the time. It was no problem. And then now, I don't know why, now I get super out of energy if I don't. So now I eat first. So, but for about a year and a half, 2 years, I would always just wake up, work out, and then eat, and I was fine. And now I'm like, the problem is now is like when I work out, I start getting hungry, like, and it affects my workout because I'm like hungry.
Yeah, because you can't concentrate.
Yeah. So now for me, it's like, okay, I'll just eat first. But so it's just depending on the person.
Right.
So the meal timing, other than that though, doesn't really matter. But the total calories does matter. The problem is like this sport creates eating issues for a lot of people. And if you're someone that has like some type of eating disorder and you're in this sport, you're in a group of a lot of people who have the same thing. So don't be ashamed about it or anything like that, because it's a large percentage of people that are in this sport, because it brings in the hyper conscious people that are already body conscious already. So because of that, you get people who've had eating disorders who have been very physique oriented and their whole life because they're always concerned with it, and then they go into bodybuilding, and then it's usually better for someone to go into bodybuilding who had an eating disorder because they'll eat more food because you have to eat a certain amount to keep your muscle, so that's good. But when you have some people like that are saying, I'm not hungry, so they're going to cut their meal out, which means they're going to cut their calories. Well, the problem is you start justifying those people to cut their calories more often. They're like, oh, I'm just not hungry. But then they're just eating a lot less. So I would say, always eat the calories, combine the meals, because for 2 reasons. One, you don't want to be getting close to a show and then justify, oh, I should just not eat because I'm not hungry. Because then all of a sudden you're going to start telling yourself you're not hungry. And then not eat because you think you need to get leaner for the show. That's a real thing that happens with people. People play with their minds a lot in this sport. So I will say get in all the calories too. So the number 2 is your coach is going to need the data of your calorie intake. Mm-hmm. They're going to absolutely need it. And if the coach has you at, let's say, 2,000 calories and you're eating 1,600 calories and you're leaning out too much, well, then they're going to probably make an adjustment and raise the calories or something, lower the cardio, whatever the case may be. And then now they're working off of improper data. And let's say the next week you follow the plan, but you were eating 1,600, but now you're eating 2,400 because you thought you were eting 2,000. Well, now you gain weight and then you lose that week of progress, right? So it's very important to collect the right data. This whole sport is all data collection, Now with Ashley, it's really easy because we've done so many shows and we have so much data. I know she's not gonna, we know what happens when she has too many carbs and what happens when her legs blow up. If she has too many carbs, her legs will just get a little bit bigger. If she has too little carbs, her arms will get too flat, right? Mm-hmm. So we learn all these things. If she does too many shows in a row, she starts losing muscle. So we start knowing so much about her that we could throw a peak week together really easily because we have data. And it's really easy now, But you got to collect that data, and without accurate data, you have no map to get you to your goal. So
good answer right there. All right, let's move on to the next question.
Hi Adam, hi Ashley. My question for you guys is, what is your recipes for protein coffee or coffee to stay on track with your meal plan?
That's a good question.
I actually do that, so that's good, yeah.
Yeah, you do that all the time. You still do, right?
Oh yeah, I do it all the time. Yeah,
So
can you tell my story? Okay, so these are actually kind of fun. Okay, so let me give you the ultimate coffee thing. Okay, so the best coffee is if you go to Amazon, and I'll have Anya like pull it up and put it up in the screen. You go to Amazon and you get this cold brew coffee maker, and basically it's just like a jug. It's like a glass jug, and it has a big filter in it. And you just dump a bunch of coffee in it, and by the morning time, it's like cold brew coffee. It's delicious. You can use any coffee you want, and it's delicious. And it's the cold brew just doesn't have like the bitter taste to
You're
it.
talking about the Dorothy?
The Dorothy one works too, but I do have a Dorothy as well. Dorothy, you can make like Dorothy. What she's talking about is a cold brew, like almost like an instant cold brew coffee. Cold brew takes like a day or two to like fully get brewed, but the Dorothy you can do it in like 15 minutes. So I use that too, but it's like you put it in and it just like creates this tornado, and it brews your coffee. It's amazing. That's a good one too, but you need like 15 minutes for that. And okay, so that's how I make my cold brew coffee. And then I use the flavor drops from stevia to sweeten it, and there's a whole bunch of different flavors. I usually just use chocolate. And then I use the Carb Master from Kroger, the Carb Master chocolate milk, but it's like 30 calories, maybe 40 calories a serving. And I'll use like
Your servings aren't full servings.
no, yeah, I use only half a cup.
Okay, because usually full serving would be a full.
No, I think the full serving on that one's still only 40 calories or so. The Carb Master, let's look it up.
I don't think so. I think it's going to be 80 or 90.
Maybe you're right.
I think you're using a half cup because even the protein
using
alone
half.
and everything else in it is like.
Yeah, there is
So-
more protein, right? So
Yeah,
let's see.
I think you're doing half cups for 40.
Master, let's look it up real
But
quick.
you can also do, you know what I like though? You can also use like cashew milk too. Cashew milk's like 25 calories per cup, which is delicious. And it's super thick.
Yeah, it's 80 calories. So in one cup. So I am using half a cup. I use half a cup, so it is 40 calories. That's where I got it. Okay, so, and then chocolate protein. I like the My Protein. It's good flavor to it. And then the flavor drops, and then that's pretty much it.
Yeah, good stuff, huh?
It's delicious. That's my thing. Or go to Starbucks and I just add. The other trick I do is I'll get the same half a cup of that Carb Master chocolate milk, and then I'll mix protein, 1 scoop of protein in that, so it's like really dense, and then I'll just mix that as like my cream into a regular coffee from like Starbucks if I don't have like it already brewed. So that's another option too.
So I'll give you mine. Ooh. So if I'm really feeling frisky, I will do like a Frappuccino iced coffee. So what I'll do is I'll just take a blender and some instant coffee, and then I'll use the cashew milk. Cashew milk is superior to almond milk, okay? Cashew milk.
Thick.
I said it. Yes, it's thick with 3 C's, you know? And I throw in some ice, cashew milk, instant coffee, and then a protein powder. I can use vanilla. I can use chocolate. But secret ingredient, guys, xanthan gum. It starts with an X. Xanthan, I think. You can get on like Amazon. Use like just a little bit of that. And what that is, it's vegetable fiber. And it thickens things like you have no idea.
Really?
Things become so thick. You can turn it into ice cream if you want. But I do that and I add some stevia in there, blend it, put it in a nice little glass cup with one of those really thick boba straws so that you can get the thickness up in there. Yes, that's it.
That's tricky.
Yeah. And
That's
you can
better
even
than I
use-
thought it was gonna be.
You can use sugar-free chocolate syrup on top for a little drizzle, and you got yourself a little Frappuccino.
I need you to make me one of those.
Of course,
The xanthan gum ones?
yeah.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah,
You did
it
that.
thickens it. You can use it even for like smoothies too. But xanthan gum's in a lot of foods that you probably don't even realize. But it's what thickens things. It gets things thick. It's vegetable fiber.
Maybe
So
that's why I'm getting thicker these days. Eating too much xanthan gum. It couldn't be my calories and activity
Yes.
level. It has to be xanthan gum.
but if you use xanthan gum, yes, that must be it. If you use xanthan gum, you have to like blend it. You can't just stir it. It's not going to work like that. You have to like blend it. So just a little heads up. You can't just like toss it into a Starbucks with ice, and you have to blend it.
Okay, that's what it must be. Good idea.
Yes.
I thought it was all my travel and fast food because I was traveling so much lately, but it must be xanthan gum. That's why I'm getting thicker.
Yeah. Yeah, it's getting thick. Thickums.
No extra C's.
All right, let's move on to the next one.
Hello. Congrats on your 100th episode. That is awesome, you guys. My question has to do with mindset. So sometimes on prep, I have really hard days, and there's days where it feels challenging, and there's where I look forward to being off like hardcore strict prep and being in an improvement season where I can lift heavier, have more energy, be a little bit more relaxed with the diet. Having those hard days and looking forward to an improvement season and really pushing it in the gym. Does that mean bikini and bodybuilding is not for me? Like, I'm not cut out for that if those feelings occur, or is that normal? Because I do enjoy the challenge of prep, but I also enjoy being in an improvement season and having a little bit more freedom and being able to push a little harder in the gym and stuff like that.
That's a really good question. I think a lot of people deal with that. The battle of being in season versus off season and not knowing what you want to be in at that current moment.
Yes.
You know, it's very normal though. It's very normal. Then, you know, I'm very motivated in season, more so than an off season. I'd rather be in season all year round. And I don't really have those thoughts as much anymore. In fact, I feel like I just want to just compete all year. That's me. But I realize we're not all like that, you know, and we're all in different scenarios and in different parts of our journey. Like, you know, I feel like I'm in a place now where I don't need to make that much more improvements with my physique. I mean, a little bit here and there, but it's not like I need to take like months and months off to improve. It's more like, if anything, weeks, but not months. But I'm in a place where I can do that physically. But some other people who are maybe in the beginning stages of their journey still have room to grow and improve physically. And in order to do that, off season for them is easier to do that rather than in the in season.
Yeah, this is a tough one to answer because I think a lot of it comes down to people's prior sports experience too.
Yeah.
You know, and I think me and you, that's one of the alien things about me and you, right? Because we both grew up playing sports that were really strict on eating too. And I think that mindset is just ingrained in us, and we could just flip a switch and then it is what it is, you know? Because I used to wrestle, and so eating wasn't even like an option back then. It was like you just didn't really eat that much. Like, 'cause I had to make weight for wrestling meets, and so, and I had to stay really close to my wrestling weight in the season too. So, I mean, you guys didn't want to know my weight class I wrestled at. I was so little, but
Were you smaller than me?
I weighed what you weighed on stage in my wrestling class. Yeah, I'm a little guy by nature. Like my joints are real small.
I don't think so, Adam.
Look at my joints; they're little.
They're bigger than mine. Look at my crusty hands. I got crusty hands where the tan collected.
Yeah, I wrestled 119s. So yeah, I graduated when
How tall were you?
I wasn't much taller. Was shorter. Yeah, no, I was like this height pretty much.
That's crazy. I can't believe that was.
I put on 100 pounds within 2 years after I graduated. 100 pounds. Yeah, I was 220, 217 is the heaviest I got in bodybuilding. I was 217 at, I think I was 20 years old when I was 217. And I was about, so whatever, 98 pounds. So I wrestled at 119 though. But I really focused on it after that. You know, I really focused on bodybuilding only and eating and all that. But I don't know. So for me, it was like, you know, I had to weigh about 130. And then I had to cut to 119. So that was, you know, for me, it was like you just kind of grew up like that, you know. And same thing with hockey. You had to eat right. You had to eat right to be fast. You know, you had to eat like an athlete. So I don't know. When you grow up playing those sports, it's easy to just turn a switch on, and it's just like, okay, it's like make weight switch, and you just turn it on. And 3 days are hard, and then after the 3 days, it's just like machine. It's just that's how I eat. You know, it's not a hard thing to do. But I'm not competing anymore too. So now I just eat clean, and then I have one cheat meal a week kind of thing. So it's, but here's the thing with this sport. I don't think that it's not for you if you don't have that mentality, because most people don't have that mentality. I'll say it's something that I struggle with learning about people, because I'm just like, well, then just follow your diet, you know. But it's like, but for me, it's easy because I don't get, a lot of people don't have that like mechanism where they can just switch it on. It's hard. So for those people, what I'll say to do is this. I'll say, okay, your post-workout meal gives you a lot of freedom, and that's a really good meal option for you. And if you're struggling really bad, talk to your coach about it. Even if your coach is one of our coaches, especially.
It's me.
Oh, it is? Okay. Yeah. So
That's one of my clients.
okay. So you could tell your coach about it. Tell Ashley
Tell
about it.
me about it.
Yeah, that you're having.
She just did.
You're having your struggles, and how do we get away from those struggles, right? And one of them is post-workout is where the coaches have a lot of room in a prep too. because we want a high glycemic index carbohydrate post-workout. So we want something to spike insulin, drive nutrients to the muscle as fast as we can, fast digesting protein, so it's in the bloodstream as fast as we can get it. So if you're doing, let's say, 30 carbs, 60 carbs post-workout, whatever you're doing, that's where you could do, let's say, a pure sugar carb. You could do a gummy bear. You could do a whatever, a candy, a fruit, or whatever. And that having that one meal a day where you have that freedom to kind of pick and choose whatever sugar it is, it almost becomes like a motivating factor for you to go into the gym. So you're like, oh, I got to work out today because I get my whatever treat. And then you're like, after you work out, you're like, okay, what am I going to do on Tuesday? What am I going to do on Wednesday? Like, that's my thing. And so that becomes really fun. And then you don't feel like you're struggling as much like with your nutrition when you have at least that. I'm not a big fan of macro dieting in season. Off season, I really don't care. In season, I'm like, okay, we need the best data we can get. But with doing sugars, I'm fine with it pretty close all the way to the show, because we just need high glycemic index carbohydrates at that point. So fruits, candies, whatever, as long as it's just sugar and not fats in it, or if there's fats, take it into account. That gives you some freedom. And then the other thing is too, is like you got to learn to start kind of convincing yourself. And it's not, at first it's convincing yourself and then it just becomes habit. But if you go into every in season and you're one of those people on Instagram talking about the suck all the time, and you're talking about the suck and all you do is talk about the suck, and you're like, oh, it's prep. I got 40 days ahead of me of no carbs or no whatever, and I got to do this cardio and I got to do this. And you start building that up in your head, that voice is going to get louder and louder and louder. And the louder you let it get because you're giving into it sucking instead of having a positive attitude about it, that's what really messes people up the most, is because they get into with their friends and stuff, almost like the misery of prep. And it's almost like this badge of honor that people wear where it's like, prep sucks and they want to talk about it. Well, that starts getting into your mind. And as soon as you start saying it on Instagram and social and all this stuff, prep is so hard and this and that, and you're just kind of almost bashing prep. Yeah, of course that's going to get into your head. You're feeding yourself these thoughts of it sucking. So of course it's going to suck. It can't not suck if all you're doing is telling yourself it sucks. So you have to learn, just like in life, you can't have the good without the bad, or the good wouldn't even be the good. The good would just be the normal. It would just be normal life. So the only reason you even know that it's good is because you have a reference of bad, right? So the same thing with bad is you wouldn't know it was bad unless you had a reference of good. So you have to understand that the beauty of prep is the good and the bad. It's the suck and the benefit, right?
Ooh.
And so without the good of the prep, without the show of the prep, you wouldn't have the bad of the prep, right?
I like that.
Yeah, and so you have to, that's just life in general, it's a beautiful thing, but it's only beautiful because we recognize the bad.
Yeah.
And so you have to embrace the bad because that's what gives you the good.
That's beautiful.
so with Ashley,
I'm inspired.
It's profound talks today.
Profound.
So
usually don't get this profound on us.
I have some in there. I'm not the calloused ex-athlete so much that you think I am, but that's the prep. You have to go into it with the right mindset, and you have to go into it understanding that you're privileged in prep to even be doing this. Because you can do it. You're in a country where you can eat less on purpose to look a certain way, and it's actually harder for you to be leaner than it is for you to be fatter. How lucky are we to be able to do that? There's a lot of countries where people are just trying to get a meal in, and we're like, no, we're going to eat less on purpose, so I can look a certain way, so I can show off my body. That's crazy that you say it all like that. And so we have to go into prep with the mindset of, hey, this is gonna be hard, but it's gonna make me better. And if I can get better at enjoying the suck, then I'm gonna be better at enjoying the suck at all things at life. I'm just gonna be a happier person. It's a growth development thing, right? And I think that's why I like prep so much too, is that it makes people better people, not just better looking. It makes you better people. You can endure, the more suck you can endure in life with a positive attitude, the better your life's gonna be, because I promise you, life is gonna be hard. It's gonna throw everything at you. And so I think that it trains people for the suck. And if you can learn to enjoy the suck, and you can have a positive attitude about every day, and wake up and say to yourself, hey, this is going to be a little bit harder, but it's only harder because you have the reference of being able to eat whatever you want, which is something that most people don't even have to do, And so I guess that's my take on it, is to go into it with a positive attitude and it'll be a lot easier. If you go into it every morning like saying that you're this victim because you can't eat that much, even though this is self-imposed, you know, and I'm this victim and I gotta do cardio, I gotta do this, but like just understanding yourself, hey, like I'm really lucky. I get to look this way. Only 0.5% of all people in the world like actually can look this way. Like I'm healthier than I've ever been when I'm in prep, because you're usually a lot healthier in prep than any other time. People want to argue that and they're like, oh, they're too lean, it's not healthy. And I'm like, dude, they're not at that essential fat yet, so they're still really healthy. They're eating good, they're moving a lot,
and you're super conscious of like everything that's going in your body, right? Vitamins and very nutrient dense foods too, which you know, some people that are a little fluffier, maybe they're eating McDonald's and stuff. I would argue that our meals are packed with more vitamins and minerals and all the good stuff.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a good thing to do. You know, it's a good thing for your body to do that. You know, and so just go into it with the right mindset. I think that that's the most important thing, is that you have to have the right mindset. As soon as you go into it and you watch these bodybuilder videos and all they talk about is how hard it is and they're grinding and it's like this badge of honor for it to suck. I'm like, what is so hard about it? What are you doing that's so hard? You're eating healthy and eating a little bit less and you're moving a little bit more, and that sucks. Like, you were already working out and eating consciously anyway.
Right.
So now what are you doing extra? You're eating a little bit healthier and doing a little bit more cardio, and now all of a sudden you're in hell? Yeah. Like, that's not, you're doing something wrong if that's the case. Sure. Because you shouldn't go from extreme to extreme anyway, right? So if you're already working out and you're probably already eating relatively healthy, and if you're just going to make it a little healthier and a little bit less calories and move a little bit more with a little bit more cardio, then it shouldn't be that big of a deal, you know? But if you're eating like crap in the off season entirely, not doing any cardio, and then now all of a sudden you have not a carb in your diet and you're doing 2 hours of cardio, that's going to suck. There's honestly like no way to really go into that without it sucking, like without it really playing on your mind. So I would say if you're having those types of issues and you're on that extreme, you got to look at your programming again and look at your, you know, how serious you're going to be about this in the off season too, because it shouldn't be such a dramatic difference where all of a sudden it's just like a slap in the face. It should be like the mindset of, hey, now I have a little bit tighter on my diet and I'm moving a little bit more, and then it kind of gradually increases, and then just have to appreciate it, you know, on a daily basis. Enjoy the suck, you know? Yeah.
I think we're both really good at showing the positive sides of the sport, that it can be fun. And gosh, I don't know about you, but I'm having the time of my freaking life right now. And it's funny because I think there's like a few people out there that think like, oh man, her life sucks. That must suck. She does this all year round and she's doing cardio and she's got a diet. And I'm like, no, I'll be honest. My life is so easy. I have an easy life. Easy. Okay. Now, in my opinion, it's easy because I mean, like I look at it like, hey, I am in a great position right now to where I'm able to do these things. I'm living the dream. I'm healthy. I have very minimal responsibilities, thank God. But I'm lucky to be doing this. So for me, I think this is an easier life, because even I look at like my dad, who, you know what he did for a living? He was a welder. And I saw how hard he worked every day. He would come home sweaty with a whole bunch of like soot everywhere from welding. And I look at that versus what I do every day, and I'm like, I've got this easy. I really do. This is easy. This is easy, you know? I think like we don't look like on the outside of what other people do on a day-to-day, even from other countries, how hard they have to work for a living. And not saying everyone listening to this is going to be a competitor for a living, but if you look at like how they live their lives in general, it's a lot harder than us who are living luxurious lives, but you know, we do an hour of cardio or an hour of working out or whatever. Is it really, I mean, or would you rather be in a coal mine all day? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So to be able to compete, just realize you're in a very privileged position, and you should be like very thankful for that. But also, I do realize that, you know, we're all human, okay? So not every day we're going to be super motivated. We will have those days where we're just like, I just don't feel like it, you know? And that's a very human thing, and I totally understand that. But you just got to realize that's a mood. That's a day. Go home and sleep. Get a good nap. You'll feel differently tomorrow. You just can't drag that mindset on. And I always say that motivation is a very temporary thing. It comes and it goes. But ambition and dedication is way more of a longer lasting thing. So as long as you have ambition and you're dedicated, that will take you so much farther than motivation, because some days you're motivated, some days you're kind of not. But you do it anyway because the end goal is what's most important, not necessarily that day of just feeling lethargic and feeling blah in a bad mood, you know?
Yeah. I have those days too where like I'll try to like that voice in my head will try to talk me out of like working out or something because I'm tired or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the day
It's a mood, you know?
Yeah, the day I flew in, like we flew in, I was traveling all weekend. We flew in, we got in, 6 o'clock we were here, the taxi dropped me off here. And then I went to my house and ate, and then it started kicking in. The guy was in there and he's talking and he's like, yeah, we're tired. You know, you had a long weekend. You could just work out hard tomorrow and this and that. And the problem is that voice, you listen to him once and he starts getting louder the second time and louder the third time. And he knows he's going to give in. And it's like that voice gets really, really loud and starts screaming at times, you know, if you just give in to him a few times. So I've learned that whenever that voice comes in my head, because he does come in my head and says, Adam, you know, you could just do it tomorrow. You're tired, whatever. Like it starts building up. I mean, it's like a real thing. And I'm like, shut up voice. Like, right. Like I'm like telling myself like, shut up. Like that's weakness trying to take over you, you know, and you're stronger than that. And then I just go to the gym. And as soon as I do like a few sets, it's usually done. Like I'm usually like motivated. Like,
and you feel much better when you're done. You're like, okay, I'm glad I did that.
Exactly. You know? Yeah. And
whereas if you didn't, you'd be home thinking like, man, I should have just did it.
Yeah.
Know? So
at nighttime is when you do it. Like right when you're about to go to bed, you're like, I really should have just worked out. And you like feel guilty about it. Yeah.
The hardest part sometimes about a workout is getting to the gym itself, right? Yeah. It's like the dread of, I'm tired, I gotta go to the gym. But once you're there, you're like, all right, well, I'm here. And then you start working out. And then it's a lot better. And then it's like, okay, I'm in the zone. But just the dread of going. So sometimes it's like, just like you said, the light switch, you just gotta be like, no, we're going.
Yeah.
Don't even think, no ifs, ands, or buts. It's not even a question in my mind. I realize that little voice is starting to become loud. Nope, shut up. Light switch on, we're going. And without question, just go. And then you'll definitely thank yourself for it afterwards.
Yeah, and I go through that too. Everyone goes through it. And I have, I'll say my situation is there's no reason it should be hard to get to the gym. I have a gym that I own 4 houses down from my gym.
No excuses.
I have the gym in the country club, and then I have the gym outside in LVAC through the alley. I have like 3 gyms within like walking distance, and even I go through that. And so like I can imagine someone who's going to drive like 30 minutes.
Yeah,
you know, be a
like
lot
in
harder,
the middle of the nowhere.
Has those issues. Oh, I don't want to go through the drive. There's a lot of traffic right now. Like even no matter what, you're going to have those. You're going to have to be the best situation possible. You're going to have those feelings. I have them. It's funny because I have that exact situation, but I was thinking about it on Sunday to not work out, you know? So
you're like, oh, there's literally no excuses I can use for this.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah. So it's just a mindset. You just got to sometimes force yourself. And then if you keep forcing yourself, sometimes it'll get easier. I'll say the hardest thing I ever had to do, I've only left the gym once. I had a shoulder injury from hockey, and then I had to take like a month off, maybe 6 weeks off of like doing any shoulder exercises, and I just didn't work out. That 6 weeks turned into 6 months. That was the only time I didn't work out, and it was so hard for me to get back in the gym. And I knew everything I needed to do. I knew the way of getting back in the gym. I knew the methods. I knew I didn't need to jump right into it. I knew I couldn't jump right into it. And like getting the desire back to go to the gym was hard. And so I do have some empathy now for people because of that.
Yeah.
But getting the desire to go back to the gym was hard. Like I had to force myself for about a month, and then like month 2 came around, and then I was like, I knew it was good when I felt like I had to go, and I felt like crap if I didn't go. And so it was almost like I got like anxious to not go, and I was like, oh, I'm back. Like I'm back now, you know? You probably know the feeling, yeah. And so so that's sometimes you got to force yourself, you know, and then it'll just pass.
Yes, exactly. And then it becomes a habit where you don't even have to think about it. You're just like, no ifs, ands, or buts. Just like taking a shower. It's like, I'm not even going to question it. I'm just going to take a shower, you know, got to. Got to stay fresh.
It's funny, like I can take 2 days off a week at the gym now, and I'm like, I'm okay. I usually like to work out at least 6, but I could take 2 days off and I'll be perfectly fine mindset wise. But if I take 3 off, like 5 is like, oh, I feel great. I'm in decent shape. I'm happy with the way I look. 4 is like, I'm a fat slob.
Oh, that's so funny. We're very opposites. I feel like that with diet though.
Oh, yeah?
I don't mind taking a week off from the gym if like I finish my season. I'm like, okay, I let my body rest. But if I go like a week off, like just eating like whatever, I'm just like, oh no, I feel like a slob. So I'm like that with
We're
the
just
diet.
opposite, yeah.
But with the gym, I'm just like, yeah, whatever, you know. So. I'll stay.
That's
good.
funny.
You know,
Yeah.
as long as my diet's on point, I'm good.
Okay, that was a fun one. That could be a whole episode, you know?
Oh,
We could do a
yeah,
whole episode on that.
definitely. Let us know if you want to hear it.
Yeah. Is there any more? Is that it?
No, just thank you guys again for listening to us talk. We have some good episodes on the way, so make sure you stay subscribed and all that. And of course, we always take suggestions on topics. So if you ever have any suggestions for us, just leave it in like the comment section below. And if it's good, we'll make it into a podcast.
There you go. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for everything, and we'll talk to you later.